Something truly fantastic is happening, besides the cherry tree blooming behind me. You see, 5 years ago, I first spoke about wave genetics, which you can find up here if this drops down, or in the description below the video. And wouldn't you know it, a week or two ago in Russia, a video appeared on YouTube about wave genetics, specifically about the concept behind it all. Now, I've already spoken about this a year or two ago, quite specifically. I explained it at length over several videos, but now you see it, you will see it, in the form of a single video with Hungarian dubbing, and what's shocking about it all is that more than 1 million people have already viewed this video in Russia, so some huge things aren't just gonna happen someday, but are happening right now. Oh, and you can find these solutions in the description below the video. There are a few links in the description. You click on them and you can get these immediately, because they're just audio files. These are interesting things.
This man proved that death can be abolished with a single word. He died 1 month before the Nobel Prize. Could it be a coincidence? Why is it that those who eat right, exercise, and take vitamins still grow old, get cancer, become diabetic, and die in agony? Why are doctors helpless, and why don't medicines work? Pyotr Gariaev, doctor of biological sciences and Nobel Prize nominee, revealed the secret. Death is a programming error that you create with every single word you speak. How is this possible? What did he find out? Who had an interest in keeping it a secret? Now you can learn about Pyotr Gariaev's shocking discoveries. The fifth revelation will change everything you thought about life, death, and the nature of reality. Pyotr Gariaev was born in 1942 into an average family. No one would have thought that this boy would one day challenge the medical science of the entire world. He became a doctor of biological sciences and a member of the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences. But the road to recognition was full of thorns. Official science branded his work as pseudoscience. His colleagues laughed at him, and the media accused him of charlatanism. In 1985, Gariaev began experiments that changed everything. He studied DNA, not as a dead chemical formula, but as a living system capable of receiving and transmitting information. While other scientists cut molecules with scalpels, Gariaev listened to their music. He realized that DNA emits waves similar to radio signals. These waves carry information about health, diseases, and even lifespan. In the 2000s, a breakthrough occurred. Gariaev proved that DNA is just like it reacts as strongly to human speech as it does to radiation or chemicals. This shocked the scientific world. Traditional medicine's representatives refused to publish his articles. They said it was impossible, that it contradicts the laws of physics. But the results of the experiments could not be refuted. In 2020, something incredible happened. Gariaev was nominated for a Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine. The information spread in small circles. No official confirmation arrived, but the scientist's followers were already preparing for triumph. On November 17, 2020, Pyotr Gariaev suddenly passed away at 78 years old, even though just a week earlier he was perfectly healthy. Relatives speak of a heart attack. Doctors confirm it, but the questions remain. How can someone who researched the nature of life and death for 40 years die so unexpectedly? Why exactly 1 month before the most prestigious award? Who had an interest in silencing him? What exactly did he discover that threatened the multi-trillion-dollar business of pharmaceutical companies? Before his death, Gariaev still managed to pass on something important to his students. Information about his 5 main discoveries, which can change the life of anyone who hears it. Today, you can learn these secrets. But first, a fact that will make your hair stand on end. But that's not even the most shocking part. Next comes the discovery that modern science can't explain to this day. Gariaev's first discovery is linked to an experiment that sounds like sci-fi. The scientists took a human DNA sample and placed it in an airtight chamber. Special instruments recorded the weak electromagnetic radiation emanating from the molecule. This was completely normal. Every living tissue emits energy. So far, everything complied with the laws of physics. Then Gariaev completely removed the DNA from the chamber, cleaned it to the last molecule, and checked it 10 times. According to all laws of nature, the radiation should have stopped immediately. The source disappeared, the signal must disappear too. The logic is unassailable, but nature laughed at logic. The instruments continued to record the radiation. 1 day, 2, 3, a week, a month. For 40 days, the detectors caught waves from the empty chamber. Gariaev named this phenomenon the DNA phantom. A trace, an imprint, a hologram in space. The molecules disappeared, but the information remained. Just like mute, the laser beam delivered the sound information directly into the molecular structure. The first test, swearing and curses. Gariaev spoke the harshest, most evil words he knew. Through the microscope, a horrific image unfolded. The chromosomes began to distort, twist, and tear. The damage grew second by second. The scientists stopped the experiment and took measurements. The result was shocking. The DNA damage was equivalent to 30,000 roentgens of radiation. For comparison, the lethal radiation dose for a human is 400. Roentgens, a single curse costs 75 times more damage than lethal radiation. This isn't a metaphor, it's a physical reality measured by instruments. After this, Gariaev performed the reverse experiment. He took the damaged DNA samples, the ones he destroyed with curses, and began to influence them with prayers and kind words. Orthodox prayers, Buddhist mantras. He read aloud or simply spoke well wishes sincerely, pronouncing the words with deep feeling. And a miracle happened. The torn chromosomes fused together and the damaged parts were restored. The process unfolded before his eyes. The stronger the emotional charge of the words, the faster the healing was. Sincere prayer worked faster than mechanical repetition. Love healed more effectively than indifference. Gariaev realized that every single word of ours programs our bodies. This isn't psychology, self-suggestion, or a placebo effect. This is the direct physical impact of sound waves on molecular structure. When a mother screams at her child, she's destroying their DNA. When someone tells themselves, "I'm sick, I'm old, I'm dying," they're literally killing their cells from the inside. But it works both ways. When we speak kind words to ourselves or others, we trigger healing. Prayer isn't just a plea to the heavens, it's a wave therapy that restores the genetic code. Every kind word is a medicine, every curse is a poison, and our body hears every one of them. Just think about how many times a day you say destructive sentences to yourself or out loud. "I'm tired, my head hurts, this is unbearable, I can't take it anymore." Every such sentence is a blow to the DNA, a harakiri, a 30,000 Rengen power hit. Now multiply this by the number of days, months, and years. This is where those diseases originate that doctors call inexplicable. But this is just the beginning. The next discovery explains why some live for 100 years in health, while others die at 50 from incurable diseases. The third discovery concerns what Gariaev called the Earth's unified information field. This sounds esoteric, but the scientists proved it both mathematically and experimentally. All information about every living being on the planet is stored in this unified field, a vast invisible library where the history of every cell, every organism, and every person who ever lived is recorded. Gariaev also conducted experiments with plants. He took a young, healthy wheat plant and recorded the wave characteristics of its DNA on a special carrier. Then he took an old, dying plant that had almost completely withered away. Its leaves are yellow, its stems drooping, its roots are rotten. Every sign indicated that the plant would die within a few days. The scientists began to irradiate the dying plant with the wave information of a young plant. The result was already apparent after 24 hours. The old plant began to revive. New green leaves grew, its stems straightened, its roots grew stronger. A week later, it was hard to believe it was the same dying plant. It looked young, fresh, and full of vitality. But where did the plant get the information needed for regeneration? Gariaev realized it read it from the information field. The recording only served as a key to a massive database, like a password that opens the library door. The scientists took the next step, conducting similar experiments with animals. Diabetic rats were irradiated with the wave information of healthy rats. Their pancreas began to function. Their blood sugar levels normalized without insulin, medication, or diet, simply due to the effect of the wave information. Blind mice with damaged retinas were radiated with information from sighted mice. A month later, they began to see. Their retinas rebuilt from nothing. The cells read the health program from the information field and reorganized accordingly. Gariaev reached a revolutionary conclusion. We are all connected to a common field. Every thought, every word, and every emotion of ours creates a wave in this information ocean. When we are angry, hateful, or envious, we pollute the field around us. This affects the health of those around us, especially children, because their connection to the field is stronger. When we feel love, joy, or gratitude, we cleanse the space. Our state affects others, even from a distance. That's why prayer for others works. Even if the person is on the other side of the world, the wave enters the information field and reaches the recipient because distance does not exist in the field. There are no meters and kilometers there. There is only connection. This explains the phenomena that science calls mysticism. Why does a mother feel when her child is in trouble, even from thousands of kilometers away? Because they are connected through the information field. Why do twins feel each other's pain? Why do people have prophetic dreams? All of this is information retrieval from the unified field. It may seem that everything is clear now, but the most terrifying part is yet to come. The fourth discovery explains why they were so afraid of the scientist. Gariaev did not stop at the theoretical level. He created a practical healing technology using wave matrices, a technology that threatened the very existence of the pharmaceutical industry, an industry that generates $4 trillion in revenue annually. The essence of the method is simple. They take healthy DNA from a young organism, they record its wave characteristics, and then use this information to irradiate the patient's disease cells. The cells read the health program and begin to regenerate without chemicals, surgeries, or side effects. In 2005, Gariaev performed an officially registered experiment. He took a group of rats suffering from severe diabetes. Their pancreas produced almost no insulin at all. On a human scale, this corresponded to the final stage of the disease. Without treatment, the rats would have died within 2 to 3 weeks. The scientists irradiated them with the wave matrix of the healthy pancreas of young rats. The treatments lasted 20 minutes, 3 times a week. After 10 days, blood sugar levels began to drop. After 3 weeks, it reached the normal level. The rats were completely cured of diabetes. Their pancreas regained its insulin-producing function. The next experiment was even more impressive. Gariaev took a group of blind mice. Their retinas were completely destroyed by a genetic defect. Blindness is incurable. Modern medicine can only slow down the process, but it does not restore vision. Retinal transplantation is technically impossible. The scientists began to irradiate the eyes of the mice with wave information from a healthy retina. The process was slow. The first changes appeared after 2 weeks. The mice began to react to the light. After 1 month, they could distinguish objects. After 2 months, their vision was fully restored. The blind mice saw just as well as the healthy ones. There is unofficial data on human healing as well. Cancer patients given 1 month to live by doctors underwent wave therapy with Gariaev. The tumor shrank, and in some cases, they disappeared completely. This isn't backed by documents because official medicine rejected the method, but the testimonies of the patients themselves do exist. Now it's becoming clear why this was so dangerous. If someone cures cancer, diabetes, or blindness with sound and light, why the $100,000 chemo? Why would lifelong insulin injections be necessary? Why would the most complex eye surgeries be needed? Pharmaceutical companies fear for a $4 trillion market. This isn't a business, it's an empire. And this empire protects itself. Gariaev wasn't published in journals. His invention was not patented. The media branded him a charlatan, and when that proved insufficient, he died suddenly, 1 month before his Nobel nomination. Heart attack at 78. The man who knew how to prevent any disease. Now, pay attention. The following is the most important revelation. The reason it's worth watching this video to the end. The information Gariaev passed to his students before his death. The fifth and most shocking discovery concerns the nature of death. Gariaev claimed that death, in the usual sense, does not exist. What we call death is just a program error, a code error that we write into our bodies ourselves from birth. Imagine your body as a radio set. Complex, perfect, but still just a receiver. It catches signals from the information field and turns them into life. As long as the receiver works, you live. When it breaks down, you die. But the question is, what happens to the signal itself, the wave the receiver catches? Gariaev answered that the signal doesn't disappear anywhere. The radio wave continues to exist even if the receiver is broken. Likewise, your consciousness continues to exist even if your body dies. It remains in the information field like a DNA phantom, which radiates waves for 40 days after the molecule's destruction. But where does the error originate? Gariaev performed dozens of experiments and reached an incredible conclusion. We program our own death. Every time you say, "I'm getting old," you write the aging program into your DNA. When you say, "I'm sick," you write the disease program. When you think, "I'm gonna die," you create the death program. This isn't a metaphor, it's a physical process. Your words create a sound wave. This wave has an effect on the DNA. DNA changes its structure according to the information it receives. If the information is destructive, the DNA is damaged. If it's healing, the DNA is restored. Gariaev claimed that the fear of death is the most destructive program. Humans are afraid of death. This feeling of fear creates a massive wave in the information field. The wave is written into the DNA, and the cells begin to prepare for death. The aging processes are triggered. The body slowly dies because it is programmed to do so. But if we change the program, we can change the outcome. Gariaev proved that those who don't fear death live longer, not because they're brave, but because the fear program isn't in their DNA. Their cells don't receive the command that they have to die. The scientists studied long-lived people from all over the world. People who live for 100, 120, 150 years. What did they have in common? Not diet, not sports, not medications. It was their attitude toward death that connected them. They weren't afraid of it. They saw it as a natural transition to another state. Gariaev noted this in his final work. We are immortal as long as our melody plays. The death of the body doesn't mean the end of you as a person. It's a transition from one form of existence to another, from a material state to a wave, from the visible to the invisible. But the information about you remains forever. This is exactly why the phenomenon of reincarnation exists. Children who remember their past lives. They don't make it up. They read the information from the field, where the memory of everyone who ever lived is preserved. Your words, actions, and thoughts are all written in this field. They affect other people, future generations, and the very structure of reality. Before his death, Gariaev told his students, "If they kill me, it changes nothing. The information's already in the field. It can't be destroyed, only accepted or rejected." He died a week later, but his words remained. His discoveries remained. And now, you also know what he knew. Enough theory. Let's move on to practice. Here are the specific steps that you can apply today to reprogram your reality. First rule, immediately eliminate destructive expressions from your speech. "I'm tired, I'm sick, I'm getting old, nothing to work, I can't stand it." Every such sentence is a command to your DNA for destruction. Replace them with constructive ones. "I'm full of energy, my body's healthy, I'm getting younger day by day. I succeed in everything. I can endure everything." Second rule, say kind words to yourself out loud every single day. Stand before the mirror in the morning, look into your own eyes and say, "I love you, you're wonderful, you're healthy, you're strong." This isn't self-suggestion, but the direct reprogramming of the genetic code through sound waves. Third rule, use prayers or affirmations with deep feeling. Whether you believe in God or not, the power of sincerity and emotion is what matters. Prayer is the concentrated wave of healing. It reaches the information field and returns to you amplified 1,000-fold. Fourth rule, completely eliminate cursing and swearing from your life, especially toward yourself and your loved ones. Remember the 30,000 Ranjan value. Every harsh word strikes your cells with such force. This is no exaggeration. It's a scientifically measured fact. Fifth rule, fear death no more. Understand that you are immortal. Your consciousness doesn't vanish when the body dies. It transfers to the information field and stays there forever. The fear of death is the most destructive program. Get rid of it and you'll live much longer. What music is playing inside you right now? A funeral requiem or the hymn of life? Gariaev proved that you choose your own melody. With every word, every thought, every emotion, you're writing the code of your own reality. Try these rules for a week, just 7 days, and you'll feel the difference in your body, your state, your life.